So what is up, Africana fam? Welcome to the final day, the season finale of the Love Series Season 2. I hope you guys enjoyed my entire series. Go ahead and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed this series and this look. And if you guys want to see how I achieved this color, this install, and the makeup, then stay tuned. You guys, this was a crazy, this is probably the craziest look I've ever done. And I'm never gonna front, I really had to trust the process. So if you guys want to see me trust the process, then stay tuned, because this was a long trip for me, but God came through per usual and I slayed. Alright, y'all, so on to the dyeing. We're going to be hand painting this time, and we're going to be using pink petal, funky yellow, orchid, and neon orange, y'all. So get yourselves like a couple of bowls, because we're going to need a lot. So what I did is I pretty much pastelized every color that I used. I went ahead and put some white shampoo alongside with a bit of the dye and mixed it with my dye brush just to get a pastel-y type color, so that the color could be, you know, pastel. Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just do that for every color. Pour some dye and then pour some white shampoo. Make sure it is white so it could get lighter. And I'm just gonna mix that all the way through. So I am starting off with some damp hair. This hair is from my hair collection. I got 2 inches of 10-inch 613 body wave with the 14-inch HD 613 lace frontal and body wave as well. So right now what I'm doing is I'm just taking like huge chunks of the tracks and then picking out big sections throughout the tracks to dye each part a different color. Now my rule of thumb is have fun, be creative, but you just want to make sure that every color that you're using, there's not a color that is the same that's directly right on top of each other. So you're just going to interchange in regards to your color order and how you're painting it. So that's pretty much what I'm doing throughout the entire thing. I didn't really know what I was doing much. I was just playing around. So yeah, y'all, I just try to make sure that every color next to each other wasn't the same, and every color that was on top of each other weren't directly on top of each other in the same color. So that's just my rule of thumb. If you're trying to go for the highlighted type look, just be different throughout. Be sporadic, y'all. Do something different. Now as I got higher, I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of switch up the tempo a little bit, and I'm gonna go ahead and just ombre out certain parts of the section. So as you guys can see, I'm applying some orange on top of the root, and then I'm gonna apply some pink at the bottom. So I'm just interchanging in between different colors just to give myself, you know, just a little bit of, you know, diversity, you know. I want to do the same thing throughout the entire hair. So I just did this sporadically around like the hair as well. Like I said, have fun. I'm not here to teach you exactly how to dye hair. I'm just showing you guys how I did it, but have fun with it, y'all. Like that's exactly what I did. I just freestyled, honestly. All right, now on to the frontal. What I'm doing is I'm taking certain sections. I do want my main base to be pink throughout the frontal, just because, you know, it's a Valentine's Day look. I wanted the pink to seep through more through the frontal because the frontal is the first thing you see. So throughout the frontal is mostly pink, but I'm just picking different sections without or throughout the frontal that like could be different colors. So as you guys can see right now, I got some orange in there a little bit. Did a little ombre action. Just, yeah, I had fun. My main base was pink though for the frontal. All right, y'all. So I let that sit overnight, so a full 24 hours, just so that the hair could really take it. Just because the hair was damp, and sometimes when the hair is damp, it doesn't take dye. But I let it sit overnight, and I rinsed it out. And this is how it looks once it's air dried and stuff. And right now, I already have my hair parted in where I want it to be parted at, and I am parting out the place or the side or the section that I want to be shaved. So I'm just removing the part that I want to be shaved versus the hair that I want to be a bit longer. And right now what I'm doing is around my ear tabs, I'm also just kind of carving out some baby hairs just because I didn't want that entire side to be shaved. I wanted to have like a natural look. And yeah, so I'm just going to go ahead and braid away the shaved part that I plan on shaving just so I could section them out. Now I went ahead and got my clippers, and yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just use my comb as my guideline, and I'm gonna cut about like a half of inch, or like pretty much I want to make sure that it's cut to a half an inch, so really short. And I got this method from the hair diagram, y'all. I was panicking, I'm not going front, I didn't know how to do this, so I ran to the hair diagram because she be giving out some gems for free. So go ahead and check her out. That's where I got this, you know, idea from. Her and her daughter, super talented. So yeah, I'm getting different sections for the shaved part. I'm using my comb as the guideline. I'm gonna cut the hair about like a half an inch short. So yeah, that's just what I'm doing. So now for the little baby hairs, I'm just going to use my eyebrow razor, and I'm kind of just razoring it down. Not too short. I'm leaving it still pretty long, but I wanted to get the feel of the shape of like, you know, the entire shave section. So I just kind of cut them a bit shorter. And I'm just kind of cutting in like a diagonal when it comes to like the part that comes around the ear, so it could just fall on the ear very naturally. And just a sidebar, I did have my ear tabs already cut, so the wig fits perfectly around my head. So that's just a rule of thumb. You want to make sure that your ear tabs are cut before you start doing this, just so that you get the feel and the shape of exactly what you're cutting. Alright, now on to cutting the Pixie. I already got a couple of tracks that I picked out as a section, and what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to pick up the hair in vertical sections and then use my shears and cut up vertically. And this is how I'm just going to achieve my Pixie cut throughout the entire hair. I'm going to be doing the same exact thing, so just keep on picking up vertical sections of the hair, cut upwards, and the hair is just going to naturally fall into layers, as you guys can see. And like I said, just play around with it. I would suggest, if you are a beginner, just make sure that you're cutting a bit longer than what you anticipate. So if you want to cut shorter, you could cut shorter, and yeah, you don't have to glue on hair. Now for the frontal section, I did have it parted in 3 parts. I have the middle, the side, and the other side. So the other side, I did match up to how the rest of the Pixie hair of, like, you know, the rest of the wig looks. And the bang part is going to be a bit longer. So right now what I'm doing, and I'm so mad that I'm cut out of frame, what I did is I just picked up a section of the middle part that I have sectioned out. I picked out a little section, and I'm going to have the hair directly upwards and then cut horizontally. So that's what I'm doing. Even though the cut off, I still kind of want to show y'all, like, I guess how it's supposed to look. So just have the hair straight upwards and then cut across, like, horizontally. Alright, y'all, so this is the part where I started panicking. I'm not even going front. So I'm going in with like my razor comb. This is the Diane razor comb. And I just cut that part that's right next to the shaved part a little bit shorter, because, you know, I wanted to go for like that taper type look. So yeah, so like the top will be longer than the rest of the hair that's shaved. But I kind of got lost here. I'm just like, okay, how is it supposed to look? I didn't really have like a guide or a model of like how it's supposed to look, so I didn't know how to cut it or how it's supposed to be, you know. And yeah, this is where I just started panicking. So to get the feel of the look, I just decided to mold down the shaved part just so I could kind of feel out how it's supposed to look before I decide any decision on what I want to do for that top part. So I'm going in with my Nairobi setting lotion, and I'm gonna just apply that on the shaved part and then use my baby hair brush just to kind of comb it down. And I did go in with my Bold Hold Liquid Gold gel a little bit just to gel it down. And this is also another tip from the hair diagram that she did. She used both mousse and gel just to kind of mold down that side. And I did go in with a satin wrap and wrapped it around, let that sit for about like 30 minutes or until it's completely dry. And I only applied it on the shaved part. I didn't apply it on the baby hair part that's a bit longer on that side, because I didn't want that part to be like crunchy or anything. Alright, so now that the hair is air dried and finished drying after I wet it, I'm going in with my bedhead flat iron. This is, I think, the 1/4 flat iron, and I'm just gonna go ahead and just flat iron the hair, give it a little bump, that pixie type bump, and I'm just kind of curling away from the face on each side. And I'm just gonna do this throughout the entire hair. When it did come to the shave part, I did curl it towards the hair just because I kind of wanted that little, I don't know what look I'm trying to go for, but yeah, I didn't want it to be away from my face. Like the side where it's supposed to be, I wanted it to kind of come at my neck. Y'all gonna see what I'm talking about, y'all. And now I just razor off any pieces that I feel like need to be cut. And this is how we're looking, very fruitish and skittleish. We're looking very colorful right now, but it looks cute. All right, so there is me, still confused as a mug as to what I'm about to do. But right now what I'm doing is I'm just kind of like using my hot comb just to press out that little side right there because I didn't want that little piece to be like the baby hair. And now I'm just, cutting off some more because I'm like, why not? And look at my face. Like, you guys see, I'm just confused. I'm very confused. I'm using a razor comb. I'm like, I have no idea what I'm about to do. This looks a little crazy. So yeah, I went ahead and molded that side down with some Nairobi setting lotion just so it could be flat because I feel like it was too fluffy, and I let that set until it was dry. And now what I'm doing is I am going in with my my clippers, and I'm trying to cut a line into that little shaved part. So right in between where the shaved part and the longer hair is at, I'm trying to do like a little line, like how the guys be doing with they design and stuff. Yeah, I'm no expert, y'all. These clippers were too damn big. I'm just like, what's going on? I don't know what's going on. I'm just trying stuff right now. And yeah, just God, give me strength, give me patience. But yeah, I think we was getting somewhere after this. I was like, okay. I was feeling a bit more confident after that. And I see that it's coming through, In person, I can't really see it. But as I'm watching this right now, doing this voiceover, I'm like, okay, it was coming along, I guess. We try. But yeah, as a first timer, and like, look on my head, I'm like, okay, all right, feeling a little confident. Still not knowing how this is going to look, but definitely looks way better than how it looked like 30 minutes ago. All right, so now on to the install. I'm gonna go ahead and cut them slits into my wig just so we could, maneuver and pull. I already have my hairline wiped down with some 91% alcohol, and I have my skin guard that I put on top before and I let it dry. And now I'm going in with my Ericka J Hold Me Down adhesive, and I'm using 2 layers. You already know the drill. Go ahead and smear it down. I am using this glue smear thingy majiggy on my head to smear it down, and I think I actually like this a little bit better than my rat tail comb. I feel like it got the glue flatter, and I definitely felt the difference in regards of like how the glue felt. Like it felt more tackier when I did this because I guess it was just more even. I don't know how to explain that, but yeah, that's just my theory. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do 2 layers. Let that dry completely clear before I apply the other one, and then we're gonna apply this wig onto the glue. So now that the second layer is completely dry, I'm going to go ahead and place the wig onto the glue. You want to make sure it's right in front of the glue. And I did lift up that little shave part because I can't really see. So if you can't see, just lift it up a little bit so you're making sure that there's no glue in front of the lace. And once I have it positioned, I'm now going to start pressing it down. And then I'm going to go ahead and use my comb to just kind of press the hair more into the glue. And then I'm going to use my blow dryer on medium heat and then just melt that in. Now I'm just using my eyebrow razor and I'm cutting in a jagged motion right next to the hairline to cut off that excess lace that's around. And as y'all can see, like, that lace is melting, mamita. I didn't even do anything that's like extra. I just glued it on. Y'all see that melt? Like, it's giving what lace is growing out of my scalp. Period. You know? So yeah. I'm just gonna go ahead and do that all around the hair. Alright, and now onto the meltdown. I'm going to go in with my Got2b Free Spray. I'm going to spray all around the hairline. And we're just going to go ahead and tie that bad boy down after that for about 15 minutes. And let it sit and dry. And we're melted. Alright, y'all, so now I'm just taking that little piece of that hair right there. I did my eyebrows off camera, if y'all noticed a little difference. But yeah, I'm picking out that little piece that I said I wanted to be the baby hair, and I'm gonna go ahead and use my eyebrow razor and just cut it a bit shorter than the rest of the hair so it doesn't blend into that other side. And I feel like when I did this was definitely a game changer. I did go in with my Nairobi setting lotion just to form that baby hair right there. And I'm using my baby hair comb just to swoop them into the hairline. But yeah, I feel like this just gave it the natural feel. Like it gave like I went to go to a natural hair specialist to go do this hair, you know? But yeah, so doing this really upgraded the look. I feel like this is what made the look. Now I'm just going to go in with some concealer in that part just to define it. And now on to makeup. I already have my eyelids prepped and primed, and I am going into my Wahala 2 palette from Juvia's Place in the color ASAP, and I'm applying that in my crease. We're going for like a soft glam type look, so this will be my crease color. Then I'll be going into my Warrior palette, and I'll be using the color Kufuru as my transition color up top. Now I'll be using my P. Louise base in the color Rumor 0.5, and I'm applying that onto my lid. And I'm just using that in small sections. I'm applying it almost kind of like in a circular crease type motion. And then I'll be going into my Morphe buffer brush just to buff that out and to make sure that it is nice and dry and not too wet. And I also like to do that to kind of diffuse it. Now I'll be going to my Morphe 35O palette, and I'll be using that nice bright pink as my lid color. And I'm using a shader brush just to apply it. And I'm going back into ASAP just to kind of diffuse it between the pink and the brown so it's nice and blended. Now I'll be using my GRWM loose pigment in the color Heavenly, and I'm applying that as a little shimmer on top of the pink. Now I'll be using my Lancome Tinted Idole foundation in the color 560 and also my Uoma Beauty foundation in the color T2C, and I'll be using my foundation brush to buff that out. Now onto concealer, I'll be using my L'Oreal Age Rewind concealer in the color Deep Bronze. I lied, it's Maybelline. I'll be using my Maybelline Age Rewind concealer in the color Deep Bronze, and I'm applying that as my highlight color. Now I'll be using my Ulta Beauty Precision Foundation brush, and I'm just going to go ahead and just blend out that concealer. And now I'll be going in with a damp beauty blender, and I'll be using my Laura Mercier translucent powder in the color medium deep, and I'm just applying that in the places that I went ahead and highlighted at. Now I'll be going into my Juvia's Place bronzer in the color Deep Dark, and I'm using the darkest color just to bronze up my cheeks as well as my nose. And then I'll be going into the dark bronzer palette from Juvia's Place, and I'll be using the darkest color in there as my blush. Now I went ahead and did the rest of my eyes off camera, but now I'm going to go ahead and just take off any of the excess powder I have on my face with my foundation brush. And then I'll be going into my ColourPop highlighter in the color Monster, and I'm going to mix that with my Amrezy highlighter just to give myself a nice pink type highlighter. And this, I feel like this definitely sealed the deal. I'm also going to go ahead and apply that in my tear ducts just to give myself a little nice shine over there. And now I'm just going to go ahead and set my face with my Morphe Continuous Setting Spray. Now onto the lips. I'm gonna go in with the color Brownie from my Juvia's Place lip liner. My Juvia's Place lip liner in the color Brownie. I'm gonna apply that around my lips, and I'm gonna top that with my black lip liner from Italia. I did get this from Amazon. And then for lip gloss, I'm gonna go ahead and use my NYX Butter Gloss in the color Vanilla Cream Pie. And then I'm gonna top that with my Juvia's Place lip gloss in the color So Glazed. Alright, now on to the baby hairs. I'm gonna go ahead and comb out those baby hairs. As you guys can see, this definitely sealed the deal in regards of the look. It just came together really, really nicely. And overall, these are the finished results. I hope you guys enjoyed the Love series, the season finale, just everything about the Love series. Go ahead and comment some rainbow emojis. If you're at the end of this video, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. Share it to your friends, whoever is looking and need to look fly for Valentine's Day. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for my next series. It's gonna be a banger, just know. But yeah, I enjoyed my time. Super dope. I feel like I always outdo myself every single time, and I'm super proud of myself. So in other news, I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.